Perkins, the editor and host of Exposure, Spotlight Magazine talk show where your voice matters. And we have an incredibly special guest. His name is Byron SORRELL, who is the CEO, president of God's Glory Music Group record label. How exciting is that? How are you doing today?
I'm blessed. I'm doing well. I thank you for having me on. God is good. That's all I can say. God is
Yes,
good.
he is. He's good all the time.
Yes, ma'am. All the time. That's right.
Not some of the time, all the time. In
All the
spite
time.
of the bad, all of that. He is
That's right.
still good and he is still God.
That's
So
right.
look, I am so excited. And of course, allow me to say that I greatly appreciate you accepting this invitation to be a part of our talk show. And because one thing it is, Byron, your voice, it matters. Okay. So we want the people to hear from you about your record label, because this is so fantastic, because we have so many independent artists that's out there and they're looking for someone like you. So if you don't mind, can you just share with everyone how you got started in the music industry?
Well, I got started in the music industry early on. I grew up in the Bronx, New York, and I started off as a youngster, teenager, doing mixtapes and, doing little parties and things like that. And I got into film engineering and production, and I dabbled a little bit with recording and engineering. I had a little small in-house studio in the Bronx, New York, where we, kind of helped out local artists that were trying to get a start in the music industry. I was actually someone who learned a lot from some of the old school hip hop pioneers like Slick Rick and the Jungle Brothers and De La Soul. A lot of rap groups and people in the music industry actually grew up in the Bronx, where they say is the home of hip hop and where it all began. So I had gotten an early start, learning from the best in the business back then.
Okay. And so is that how you got started with the record label as well? So how did that all come about?
Yes. I started off young, kind of being like a little knucklehead growing up in the hood as a youngster and, kind of walking the wrong path. And, I thought I wanted to be this gangster rapper. I started rapping and stuff like that and kind of not really knowing where I was going to go. But later on in life, as I matured and became a young man, I decided that I wanted to own my own business. And I said to myself, what greater way to reach the masses and promote myself than having my own company and my own record label. At that time, I rededicated my life to Christ, and I said that I wanted to do positive music that would definitely affect the community in a great and positive way. And I also wanted God to be behind it. So I started God's Glory Music Group in 2005.
Oh, okay. Well, that is fantastic. So do you sing or have some type of musical talent yourself?
Like I said, I was one of those. I was a rapper. And,
oh, you were a rapper. Okay.
I tried when I first started the label. I tried a little bit. I was going to become this big time holy hip hop rap artist, like guys like Lecrae and Manny the Truth and a few other individuals that have become really successful over the years. I was always a good rapper, but I don't think I was a great rapper. So I'm a little older now. Not going to tell my age, but I decided that it would probably be better for me now to kind of take a back seat. I've always been, really good at business and paralegal and paperwork. So what better way to utilize my talents that I learned growing up, working in customer service than to be an administrator. And that's why I chose to be behind the scenes and just kind of help a lot of the artists that don't have the right direction or don't have the right information, so that maybe they don't make the same mistakes that I make, and it will kind of cut the time for them to reach their dreams, because I've been doing it for so long and I've made so many mistakes, but I've learned from those mistakes, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's what we have to do. We have to take those experiences and learn from them so that we can help someone else along the way. You
That's right.
know, but I really commend you starting a positive, you could say a record label to have a positive platform for a lot of these independent artists because, you know, a lot of them have gotten sidetracked, you know, in the other segment of the world, you could say.
Right.
And
Right.
not all of them, but you
Right.
know, in a lot of cases, some of them have. But how
Right.
did you come about, you know, with the name God's Glory Music Group?
I actually started off when I was in the rap group. We were called a friend of mine, Extreme the Dream was his name. We actually were a duet, a gospel rap group duet, and the name of our group was the Gifted Ones.
Okay.
And you know, we wanted to, everything that we did, anything that we touched, we wanted to give God glory for it, and make sure that we understand and we allowed to keep God and Jesus in the driver's seat, as opposed to saying, you know, God got my back, God got my back, Jesus got my side, he on my side. No, he's in my front, he's in the driver's seat because he needs to lead me. And
Yes,
we wanted to
amen.
make sure that everything that we put out, he had his hand on it. So I stand by that, strict integrity, transparency, and I try to treat all my artists the way a lot of the big time record labels don't treat their artists. You know, I want my artists to flourish and be, you know, financially stable and, you know, show them how to create different revenue streams and things of that nature so that they can actually, you know, someday be able to start their own business, and then they grow and then they produce artists, and it just keeps growing and keeps growing and keeps growing. You know, I hear artists all the time talking about, yeah, I'm gonna, you know, I was doing gospel, but I'm thinking about doing R&B now because I don't want to be boxed in with gospel and I want to be exposed to the masses. Well, guess what? 7 billion, over 7 billion Christians in the world, and like 23 million people that listen to gospel music in the United States. 93% of them are Black people. So you have a big enough audience. And I think that when people are in the gospel music industry for a different reason, as opposed to trying to draw the unsaved souls to Christ and allow that time to flourish and to grow and gain those experiences, I think the reason why people run to the secular side as opposed to being a secular artist and running to the gospel side, kind of going backwards, is because they're looking at they're chasing a different dream, as opposed to saying we're supposed to be growing this industry, not to hate on any other genre or any other person,
Right.
but to create an alternative for what's out there. And that's what gospel music is. It's an alternative, a positive alternative to what's out there.
Yeah. So, you know, speaking of your artists, so you have what? Rappers, you have jazz singers as well, from my understanding. You deal with jazz
Well,
as well too, huh?
I've worked. I haven't signed any artists, any jazz artists, but I've worked with a few local jazz musicians and artists, and helping them to get bookings, able to get some shows. Of course, a lot of people that listen to gospel music know that on some of the stations that play jazz, they also play gospel, because jazz and gospel is kind of, you know, in that same space when it comes to radio airplay. I have one or two gospel rap artists that I'm currently working with now. One that I'm about to sign to a management company, because my label also is God's Glory Music Management.
Okay.
I've worked with several gospel rappers, you know, over the years. One young lady is a gospel singer who also is affiliated with a gospel rap artist named Dice Gamble. We did a song United, which went very, very well. You can actually pull that up on Spotify and online. Another artist, her name was Sharifa Nyan, and she's a gospel singer. And I've definitely been busy over the years working with several different gospel recording artists, as well as gospel rap artists and such, including the gentleman that I'm managing now, who's pretty successful with what he's doing right now. His name is Mervyn Mayo. I'm working with
Yeah.
Mervyn Mayo right now.
Oh, that is great. That is wonderful. Look, so what is it that you look for in an artist? If you look to sign someone, what is it that you look for?
Number one, it's about acquiescence. When you're working with an artist and I know this and I want to do this and I this is what I'm thinking of doing and yada yada yada, then you don't need me. So if you are in belief that my experience and my connections and resources can help you, I like to make sure that our synergies are kind of in line first, because that's how a good relationship can actually blossom, when you don't kind of bump heads. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the main things that I look for as far as, communication, because communication is so key in many types of relationships.
Yes.
The second thing that I look for is, just the raw talent. Of course, if I'm a gospel and inspirational producer, of course, I want to work with artists that are positive, not necessarily, too preachy in everything that they say, but, positive individuals, mainly 90% people that are doing Christian music, and making sure that, the content is what is going to represent my company and my record label, and not affect my brand, or actually be able to positively affect my brand. And the third thing I would say is just that raw, bubbling talent. I don't run necessarily a artist development company, and not to be funny or anything, but I just, at this point in my life where I'm still up and coming, I'm not really working with gospel spring chickens. Most of the artists that I work with now, they have a strong sense of who they are. They're consistent in their music, and they've been there and done that. It's just they're looking to, make it to the next level. Most of them have done shows, they've traveled, they're in the studio, they know what they're doing. A lot of the artists that I've worked with recently are music ministers. So they are able to take control of the stage and lead a choir and things of that nature. And I feel that, somewhere down the line, once I'm really, really established in a way that I can, maybe set up a artist development division and work with some artists that may not be as polished, I would definitely be able to do that. Although my management company is also a consulting firm. So I do consult artists that may not be there yet, but just need to get all their duckies in a row, so to speak, in order to figure out what the next step would be. So I'm definitely available to give artists information, because I've been a sponge over the last 15 and 20 years working with record labels and distributors and attorneys. And I've pretty much been a sponge, and I do have a wealth of information to give.
That is great. So awesome. So allow me, since we're on the subject about artists, are you seeking any new artists to add to your roster?
At this particular juncture, I'm always open to listen. I have a really, really good ear for music. And of course, if an artist is polished and they have their stuff together, and, I hear a song and it's just like, whoa, I'm always willing to work something out. I would not say that I have a closed roster, by no means, because at the end of the day, that could be the blessing that God has for me. So my door is always open. I'm always willing to listen and hear new artists' music. So yeah, my roster is open, but I try to keep a small circle, almost like a classroom, to where if I have 50 artists that I'm working with, I can't really give 50 artists the attention that they deserve, as opposed to working with a smaller circle. So I'm working with about 5 artists right now, and I'm possibly looking to work with a few more artists, not just on their solo projects, but separate projects that I'm trying to work on You know, we have a movie that I'm being, I was asked to produce a theme song, and my artist Mervyn Mayo is producing a theme song for an HBO movie next year, and some artists that are looking to get their music on television and video programs. I have several relationships with Discovery and Netflix and MTV and a lot of the TV networks to get
That's
them.
awesome.
You know, so I've been really busy trying to make it happen for my artists so that they understand that it's not just about having that one big hit, but it's about having a lot of different revenue streams and a lot of different angles, whether it's radio, whether it's recording and engineering, whether it's TV licenses, whether it's, you know, this, that, the other. There's so many different things that they can do to generate capital to help them with marketing and promotions. Because at the end of the day, in the music business, if your marketing and promotions strategy is weak and you don't have finances to hire some of the individuals that can help you get from point A to B, it's very difficult to make it. You know, one-hit wonders and things like that don't typically happen as much as they used to, especially when it comes to radio and charting on Billboard and things like that.
Okay. Look, you're giving out some great information. What is your perspective on social media when it comes to the music industry?
Well, I think social media is a great tool. I think that a lot of individuals that work social media and work it well can become very successful. Mervyn Mayo just happens to be very fortunate, whereas he's built his brand on social media to the point where he has thousands of subscribers on his YouTube page. He's up about, I think, about 2.5 million views in total on YouTube. And he had a great experience and a great, God blessed him with going viral on Facebook. And not too many people that put out music on Facebook go viral. I think he's up to, one video was 1.5 million, the next video was 4.5. So he's about maybe close to 7 million views on Facebook. And that social media piece, what that does is it affords you press.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people don't understand, just like the press that you're giving me today and the opportunity to speak to the people, it happened that same way for Mervyn, whereas, you know, ABC News and CBS and MSNBC, not Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey's show called him, and a lot of other different shows have called Mervyn to, you know, tell his story based on his success on social media. I also think, on the other hand, social media can work against you.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Because you have a lot of artists that are kind of, you know, all over the place. They're, you know, I'm doing music, and then now, you know, the following week they're telling you about how they can help you with your finances. And oh, what about my real estate business? And oh, here's my cooking business, and I'm this and that. And by the way, I'm a musician. So you kind of confuse your audience when you're not streamlined with regards to what you're doing, so that people can identify exactly what you're all about and what your brand stands for.
Also, allow me to ask you this. How can someone know if a record deal would be the right move for them?
If it's millions of dollars, you know, if,
I mean, do you really think that really is what it would take? Is to
I look at it this way. If you're in a situation where you're working and you're not making a brain surgeon salary over $100 and something thousand, where you're comfortable in your lifestyle, and you're working, making, you know, $20, $30, $40,000, and you're struggling, and then a record label comes along and says, hey, and by the way, they don't give out $1 million deals like that no more. But if that happened and you get close to $1 million, you know, 500, 750,000, what would be the best way for you to move your career forward? Struggle to pay for studio time while you got to go to work, and you got to do this and you got to do that, and you don't have enough money to do this, you don't have money to travel to do shows, you don't have money for radio promotions, your marketing, advertising, you don't have the funds to properly do what you need to do in the music industry. But the record label is now going to say, this is your job. I would much rather wake up in the morning, grab a cup of coffee, and go to my studio. and be in the studio all day making songs, because that would be my life. The perks that you get is that the record label understands that they have to protect you. So they have to, and a lot of that is recouped. Don't get me wrong, they're going to recoup all that. But if you're successful, you'll win in the end. So when they get you the new house and they get you the new car and they take you out of the neighborhood, if you live in the neighborhood, and they put money in your pocket, now you're living a better lifestyle, and you can do what you need to do in the music industry and dedicate 100% time to your craft, as opposed to working 2 9-to-5 jobs or 1 9-to-5 and then trying to squeeze studio time in and do this, and you can't take off and do a show because your boss said you don't got the time off. So it just depends on the individual. A lot of individuals have taken on what I would call now the Nipsey Hussle philosophy, and it's been done for years, to where people are going independent. You market yourself, you sell your CDs online, whether it's Bandcamp or at a show, you get a CD pressed up, it's CD Baby or Disc Makers, and you're able to sell your own music to your fans. You can be really, really successful if you either blow up on Spotify or iTunes or Amazon, and you may not make as much money from those online distributors, or what they call DSPs, but that aggregator like TuneCore or CD Baby, they'll give you the means to be able to reach a broader audience, so that when you walk into a meeting to negotiate a deal and they say, wow, you've got 200,000 streams on Spotify, you've got, X amount of downloads on iTunes, your music is great, you're doing some shows, I see you got a nice following on social media. All right, here's, what we're going to do, we're going to write you the check for it. But if you don't have those things in order, they'll say to you, well, you know what? I like this, I like that, but you haven't sold anything. So come back when your sales are here, or your social media, you need to step up your game here. So being well-rounded, performing, making your presence known online, as well as selling your own music so that you can create capital and new revenue streams, as well as making sure that your music is online on iTunes and Pandora and Tidal and Deezer and all of those, just to make sure that your package is well-rounded, so that you have the ability to negotiate these deals when you're sitting in front of these record label executives, if that's the route you're going to go.
Yes. So, with the pandemic and everything, of course, that has affected or impacted, a great deal of people, even in the music industry, really in all different types of careers or what have you. So would you say that the pandemic has, affected you guys in any kind of way?
Oh, yes. It's
In
definitely,
what way is that?
It's definitely affected us in the way that, for instance, Mervin is doing shows. He just landed in Atlanta. He's going to be performing at the Spin Awards, which is very fortunate, because now he can connect with all of the radio program directors all over the country by performing live in front of them. And he has several other shows and opportunities to minister music at churches and things of that nature. But when it comes to the larger churches, the larger organizations and the larger venues, being that there are social distancing guidelines in place, a lot of those organizations are doing virtual programming. And you can definitely reach a lot of people virtually, but there's nothing like that in-person show, where people are coming in and buying tickets and they're watching you live and you're able to network with them. So I think that in that way, and in many other ways where we communicate, now we have to kind of have our faces covered with a mask. I think that there's a lot of different things that have been negatively affected by COVID-19. And I just think that people are not making as much money as they were before, when it comes to the COVID-19, people being shelter in place and things like that. So it has been definitely a difficult time, but we're praying that things kind of get better and turn around soon.
Yeah. And we are praying that it will. And so that people can, do certain things that they were. But I believe this, that it's going to be tough. I don't know if we're going to have it's going to be still the new norm.
Right.
I don't believe myself, but I could be wrong, that it's not going to be like how it was before. But I believe that things are going to be for the better, though. So is there anything that you guys have planned or plans for 2021?
Yes, we have his single now. He has two singles. One, I Need You, Lord, which was produced by two-time Grammy Award winner Rio Bridges. That's actually on his website, mervinmayo.com. And we have a new single out right now, Bow Down, actually the one that went viral on the internet. That's also on his website, www.mervinmayo.com. You can always go to my website, godsglorymusic.com. And we're in preparation releasing those singles for his album, which will be dropping most likely the second quarter of 2021. Where he's doing a theme song for an HBO Netflix movie next year as well. We're working on a project with Boys II Men. I don't want to let that out of the bag, but I had to.
Oh, wonderful.
And we're trying to do a song with Patti LaBelle as well, have a single with her. So we're trying to do some magnificent things. I'm in the process of opening up a new music academy. I teach, I have two classrooms that I teach for an after school program, and I also teach for the Boys and Girls Club, two music studios that I have, and I'm going to be opening up a music academy here in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh,
And
wow, that is wonderful.
Yep, that's what we're working on right now. So
we may have to get you here in Louisiana.
yes, I'll be more than happy to come on out. That's something that I definitely want to expand and make sure that we help the inner city youth and young adults understand that, you can own your own business. You can be fruitful in the music industry, whether it's radio or television. You don't have to rap and sing. There's so many different areas of music that you can do to make a good living. And not to say anything about the Chick-fil-A and Burger King and McDonald's jobs for the youngsters, but I know some engineers that are 19 years old and they make almost $100,000 a year working at the radio station. Or if you own your own studio, people are always going to try to record music. Everybody
Right.
may not make it, but
Right.
it's just like a haircut. The barbershop is always going to be open for somebody to get a haircut.
Yeah, that is awesome. Awesome is the word.
Yes, amen.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So what else is it that you can share with everyone that's listening
I just
about God's glory?
Yes, I want to encourage everyone to visit the website, godsglorymusic.com, and visit mervinmayo.com, and go to the YouTube page, subscribe to his YouTube channel, and just be blessed by his ministry. A lot of people all over the world have been actually reaching out to Mervin saying, man, your music has changed my life. And he's an anointed man of God. He's also a Richmond police officer about to retire, and also a gospel minister and a gospel recording artist. So God's Glory Music Group is on the rise. We're doing some really, really big things. If you need any information from me and you need a consultation, you can reach out to me as well. My contact information is on my website, godsglorymusic.com. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to reach the masses on your platform and be able to share my story as well.
Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate, again, that you accepting this invitation to be a part of Exposure Spotlight Magazine talk show. And of course, we're going to be featuring you all, you and Minister Mervin Mayo as well in the magazine. So I'm excited. And, I'm just always for networking and making connection. Yes. And that's how God does it. He brings his people together. So I am so grateful.
Yes.
Yeah. And, I'm wishing you all the very best. But look, we already know that the best is yet to come. And it is very near. So, again, thank you so much for being a part of this talk show. Because one thing I want to leave with you, Mr. Byron SORRELL,
Yes.
that your voice, look how he looking. He's like, okay, what is she gonna say? Your voice, it matters.
Amen. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Look, thank you too. And looking to see you.
Right here and wait. I ain't going nowhere. Heaven and earth adore you. I bow down before you. Said in your word, just call your name. So we're calling on the name of Jesus.
Service. Give Barry Limousine Service a call at 504-343-9268. Barry Limousine Service provides you with professional service to weddings, parties, anniversaries, whatever your needs may be. Call Barry Limousine Service at 504-343-9268.
Exposure Spotlight Magazine, bringing you the best in news, entertainment, music, beauty, fashion, celebrity interviews, political issues, spotlighting local and national businesses, health and fitness, inspirational morals and values. If you would like to be featured and have a story to share, give us a call at 225-394-7200 or email us at exposurespotlightmagazine@gmail.com. Again, you can reach us at 225-394-7200, where your voice matters. Exposure Spotlight Magazine.